Amazing Friday afternoon. It is December 11th today, Friday afternoon, and I have my glasses off because I did receive an awesome image from someone on Twitter today, and it brought me back down memory lane. Let me just get the live chat up on my other computer screen up here so I'm able to see you guys as you chat with me on Save. And let's move on over. What do you guys think? You think I look better without my glasses on? Should I get LASIK so I don't have to wear glasses? All right. I see one person is logged in right now. Oh, I forgot to put it on Twitter. That's why. Come and join me live on my YouTube live stream about stocks. We're going to be looking at Apple, the SPY, Kodak, RMG, and I have to give a thanks out. Oh, thanks, Austin. Hey, Kevin. Kevin, is it Kevin or Kevon? An accent on the second syllable. You know what? It's been around for like 20 years already, Austin. It's pretty crazy. I think no matter what, that people have to wear reading glasses later on in life. And I hear that the negative is also, hey, good morning or good afternoon, Michael. Some sound distortion today. How about if I roll back a little bit? Is that better? Kevon. Okay, awesome. Okay, so this is the cool image right here of the bull over the bear, and this came from one of my Twitter followers, Randy, and immediately I looked at this and I thought, oh my gosh, this is Botero, right? He's a Spanish sculptor, and I first learned of Botero, oh my goodness, over 20 years ago, when I was in Florence in the Boboli Gardens and saw his art exhibit going on, and then later when I went to Venice, it was on the streets of Venice. So I tripped down memory lane, and I'm getting emotional because my dad isn't doing well, and it brings me back to the traveling times with my dad. So it is Botero. It is Botero. So sorry for the emotions. That's why my glasses are off, because of the emotions with that. So in any event, let's get into the stocks, right? Looking at the SPY today, let's bring it back to unemotional stuff, right? Trading. So we've got the SPY, and right now, looking at it, thank you, Dea. Looking at it, if I put up the two charts side by side, I've got the 5-minute chart here, and I drew a little box because I was teaching somebody this morning. I did have a 2-hour training session with somebody this morning, and I said, hey, this is the box of, this is the box that we're seeing for the day trading for the SPY. The SPY has awesome liquid options, and they are easier to trade when you have the trade at your, in your favor, right? Don't jump into the trade and you're not able to lock a profit with it. And I came up with a good analogy, right? If you start to see this on your trading day and it just sort of goes sideways, that you will get stuck in traffic. It's kind of like that rush hour traffic, right? Who likes to be stuck in traffic? Well, that's what's happening when you see a consolidation box and it's just like, hey, I'm not going to get in this trade because it's stuck in traffic right now. I see on the daily chart that we're starting to pull back, we're starting to curl down. And we had a very small trade that went from the level of breaking out right here up to just about 366. But it wasn't confirmed, right? So it was going sideways, small little trade, little profit, but then we've got this consolidation area. Once that breaks out from there, sure enough, it ended up moving forward. And if we extend this over to the present, here is the lower risk entry when it comes back and tested that lower level to the downside. So right here is the entry at which you would say, hey, this is that potential to get into the short trade or to get into a short option. And sure enough, it's following through. This is going to be my level. Hey, if we drop down below here, likely we're going to see more selling power come into it, and we're going to see it pull back even further. So if it comes down, we'll see potentially down to 362, the low right here of this candle on the 30th of November, and also to the 16th of November over here. So looking at that, okay, that's another potential target. In my personal opinion, this is following seasonality. We are seeing that the chart is telling us, hey, today we finally got a bear signal, time to short the market. This is an awesome indicator on TradingView. So it'll show you sometimes we have these waves that it pulls back and it consolidates. It came all the way down here to this moving average back in October. Do I think it's going to come all the way back down to 333? I'm not sure. But I know that we also have a major stock such as Apple that's starting to signal a curl over as well. This is the heaviest one as far as weight in the SPY and also in the Qs. 6% of the SPY and 10% of the Qs. So it's not a wonder that we see the Qs pulling back and IWM. What does this have to do with the vaccine? Nothing. This has to do with trading the chart patterns. When we look at the SPY over the past 2 weeks, I'm going to change this one to a weekly chart over here on the left really quickly. You can see that on the weekly chart, let's make it auto, what's happened to the volume? Well, as it was going up, the volume was dropping. That's not a good indication that it's going to continue moving up. You see over here as well, when we had the drawdowns, we had dropping volume, dropping, and then heavy volume once the selling started happening as a confirmation. Do I think that we will likely have a heavier volume day today? There's a very good chance of that. There's a good chance that we are going to see more volume coming in. This is the anchored volume weighted average VWAP price from Brian Shannon. So I put it back to different peaks, right? So if we break below here, then the next one would be down below here at 358, right? And that came from this day right here. I might even pull this all the way back down here to see, okay, maybe we're going to come all the way back down to 354 because it might just drop down 357.40 maybe, and then down to 354. We could have a big, just like the bottom falls out today, potentially. So just be prepared. We're starting to test that level that if we go below it, we have a couple of days. This is looking like, I have a couple of the indicators turned off because the person I was working with today found them a bit confusing, so I'm going to turn a couple of them on. But you can see that we have this even 361.94. Maybe we're going to come down there. This is my 425. You guys know I love my 425, right? Moving average. So are we going to come here and put on our bear hat for the market, everything like that? Thank you, Asif. Yeah. And I will be getting back to you. Yes. And the VIX, I mentioned it on Monday, right? I mentioned Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember which day. I said, look, we're basing, right? Every time we have a base, we tend to run up to the 50 simple moving average on average. Hey, Mark. Thank you for an awesome tweet, Mark. It was really kind of you. It tends to come to the 50 simple moving average or higher, right? We had a base here, boom, we shot up above. We had a little bit of a base here, it came to the 50. We had a base here, and where do we go? We went to the 50. In fact, we came all the way up here. So maybe that was an extreme. We went all the way up to the 425. Are we going to go to the 425 again? Maybe. I don't know. This is just the beginning. But maybe we're going to see this pull all the way up to 3064. So what would that translate into the SPY? Let's see. This was a low of the 4th of September. Hold on 2 seconds. Let me flip over here and just close that window. Done. Okay. So, oops, I don't know why I did that. We're going to see, the first levels I would watch would be 21, 23, 23. We could go all the way up to 30. So when we're looking back here, where did we stop on the SPY on the 4th of September? That would be the extreme that we're looking at, right? The 4th of September, we came, interesting. Right here, it wasn't actually the low. The low was on the 8th of September, the next day. And that was at the 50 simple moving average. So maybe we're going to come back to 350. We'll see. We'll keep it all on watch. Right now, the trend is to the downside. It's time for me to put on that bear hat, confirm it with a close below the 425 for me. But I am prepared. I started to see the setup, mentioned it on Monday or Tuesday as well with the sentiment indicator higher than 70%. So looking at the averages, how far down now? I did come out. I was on with Angela Miles yesterday. I said, hey, I like Apple to the short side. Sound is off to me. Thank you, Dea. I tried to mute when I was teaching today and they said no. How's the sound now? Can't hear me? Had static, now nothing. Now? Now you guys can hear me. I can see the mic moving. Yes, static. You know what? Maybe it's the fan. Let's move the mic. Better? Static again. Okay, it's probably the fan that it's picking up. It's extra sensitive. So, okay. All right, well, we'll continue. Awesome. Okay, so looking at Apple, look, here's that 425 bear hat confirmation for me, right? When we drop below it, usually it has a massive drop. So this could really dump. Apple could have a major dump. We could come back down to 115 over here, all the way back down here. So I'm keeping all of this on watch. It kind of looks like a diamond. Do you guys see that? We have this area here, here, and here. And so a diamond pattern is a pretty strong reversal pattern when we're talking about technical patterns. And when it breaks, it would be a reversal. So we have the upward trend, it comes and it's dancing around inside this pattern, and then maybe it's going to break out to the downside, and it's a fairly strong reversal pattern. Right now, we're just testing the upward bounds of the megaphone, and we have this downward trend here and then an upward trend. So looking for it to find support roughly about 1550 on the upward trend line here. All right, let's look at my list for today. So I did receive an email from Beatrice, and she was like, hey, Jane, why do you have RMG on here? And you know what? I mistyped. So good on you, Beatrice. Thanks for catching that. It should have actually been RMG today because RMG had pre-market volume. It had a big spike. It was up above, and I mistyped. So it totally, yeah, thank you, Beatrice. You caught an error that I was working quickly this morning because I did have a student one-on-one at 9:15, so I tried to get everything done, and I just totally mistyped. I forgot to type in the G. So it should have been RMG for everybody that was out there that does get my watch list. So great job in catching that. But let's look at RM because I did put that one out there. And it didn't really have a lot of volume today. So it barely had any sort of trade. Thank goodness that it wasn't like, hey, let's suck people in. But I saw that it was a acquisition company, and then I saw RM management, so I thought, maybe it's the same one. So I totally mistyped. So my error on that one. Then the second on my potential long list today was Disney screaming higher, breaking out. I hope you guys were able to profit off of this one, and that it had a break of high of pre-market, boom, 168, screamed up $10. Totally missed it. I was teaching somebody. It happens, right? But that was a nice trade. Also had Pfizer today, potential. They are supposedly going to be receiving FDA approval. There was a meeting yesterday about it. I know for a fact that they have Pfizer vaccines out in hospitals ready to go ahead and administer them to the frontline workers. So it's just a matter of that stamp and it will be happening. Maybe this is going to be a scenario where it is a sell the news. Did they finally get it? Says 1 billion vaccine, update, Canada, Pfizer, bladder, no, I don't care about the bladder cancer. We want to know about the rapidly approved emergency. The head of the FDA said that the regulatory would finalize the issue. Let's see this. This looks like it's good. Finalize following yesterday's positive advisory committee meeting. FDA advisory, a panel of outside experts on Thursday voted 17-4 to approve the vaccine after it was determined. So it looks like it did receive the approval from what I'm reading here. Han on Friday added the FDA has informed the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Operation Warp Speed of the decision to enable them to distribute the vaccine. They already have the vaccine in the hospitals. I want to be very clear that I'm fully supportive of the emergency use authorization for this vaccine and BioNTech for adults 18 years and older. So 18 years and older can receive it, not necessarily children. Interesting. Thursday's vote came out days after the vaccine began administered in the UK. They already had it in, and they're going to be discussing Moderna. So looking at that, this might be a scenario of sell the news coming back. Hey, it likes to bounce typically off of this 200 simple moving average. We saw it bounce here earlier today, pre-market, or 9:15, and now it's testing again. We might start to see that there's a massive amount of volume coming in. There was big volume here, right? We don't know if that was buying or selling. Let's take it down to a minute. Let's see, where did that volume actually come in? The volume came in at the top, so they were selling. So let's look at that candlestick and see, right? It opened at $41.99, a low of $41.73. Right now we are trading at $40.92. We had bigger volume down here at a low of $40.99 and bigger volume over here, $40.97. So if we close below $40.97, we'll likely see this go to the downside. Even though it did have the vaccine approval, which in the long term could mean that the government is going to be buying it from them and would potentially allow them to increase their revenue, right? It was all speculation. They were going to get approved. So in the longer term, it could end up going to the upside here. But for the short term, it is breaking the upward trend. We would need to see it really, whoops, I don't want a line, I want a trend line there. Right? We would need it to break above over here. So we need it to break above right here. So I'm going to set an alert. Hey, add an alert right here. Let's catch it on the upswing when it's breaking out from that downward trend. All right. And American Airlines. American Airlines surged to the upside. I know that a lot of people that work in the airlines seeing a lot of ticket sales so far, right? That people are ready to travel. They are starting to book their trips, at least in Canada. They really want to get out. We've been cooped in this country, really, especially going to the U.S. since last December. I didn't see my parents in person since last Christmas. Been a little tough. And looking at we're bouncing over here, this indecision doji day, bullish sandwich between the two over here. Took it to the upside, coming down, testing that top, and also potentially testing the moving average. So might be a potential to get in here. How far does it usually draw down? But we have this consolidation over here. So which way will it really break? You could get in now, but it might prove that it's going to break to the downside. So wait for that. Don't get stuck in traffic. That's my new thing. Don't get stuck in trading traffic. Now, I have Kodak on here watching this. Why? All of this drug production, right? Kodak is going to be one of them. And I'm looking over here. This should be up to here, right? So are we above the 61% retracement? Not as of right now. If we pull it over here to the last gap down, that's at 10:15, so it closed below. Yeah, bat scientist. I know somebody said the same thing. I'm not really sure what it is. I haven't done anything different. Hey, Google, off. Maybe is that help? I had music on. Does that help you guys? So watching this, it seems like maybe it's coming to the upside. We have a bit of a descending triangle over here on the shorter term. Is this going to break out? I'm going to put it on the 45-minute chart. Add on alert trend line, crossing up. This one does have 58 million in the float. It was 52% short volume, and it's riding that 50 simple moving average for now. So it also, okay, I don't know why everything's got issues with TradingView today. And then Neo. Oh, I have a friend that's in Neo long. They announced the offering last night, and after hours, it dropped down. Nice short off of 42.20 today to the downside, and it looks like it is melting away. Let's see what's going on with the market. The market is melting away now too, right? We have broken below, but we have not broken below 363. All right, let's go back to Neo. So Neo is really dropping to the downside here. And then we have TSM, a semiconductor, potential short side trade today. That was the momentum pre-market, and it is still pulling back. It's in a bit of a retracement. If we look at it on the daily chart, we look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe, or 5, A, B, C. So it's an expansion. We might see another leg up here further, but it's still contracting down. I'd like to catch it on the upside, breaking out back above. Right, so TSM had a nice short trade below 103.80 today. Right now it's hanging out at 103.64. Came down to 103.20, 60 cents there. PLTR, another one, didn't really, had a bit of a move to the upside. Right at open, had a nice scream higher, and then sellers took over and a big move down here. Are we going to see that it breaks this upward trend line, or will the buying power and buying pressure come back in roughly at $26? If that fails, that's going to be really the first fail test of this trend line to the downside that was set up back here. And then we might go all the way down here. Let's draw another trend line. Yeah. Over here. We could come back down here, down to 15, if we have that big leg down to the downside. All right, and GE. Oh, I want to tell you guys too, if you ever see an Instagram account that is not Miss Airplane Jane, or a Twitter account that's It's Airplane Jane, please send it to me. Likely it is a scammer. I've had somebody out there trying to use my photos and my images, roughly one scammer every single day. So it's happening. Please report them. You know, I do have public accounts, and unfortunately Twitter and Instagram are not doing verification right now because of COVID. So please report them and send me a screenshot, because if it's giving you a feeling that it's not right, it probably is not right. All right, so GE here, we have a nice bearish reversal set up on the daily candlestick. If we close below 1097, and again, if we breach this upward trend line, we'll likely see a drawdown to roughly 1025. If that fails, all the way down here, roughly to 905 over here. All right, do you guys have any stocks that you would like to check out for today? I have a couple minutes before I have to hop on over for my Ticker Talker live stream. Yes, Mark, and many times, hi IQ Micro. How do you get that green shadow on TradingView? This is an EMA cross. So if I go into it, let me see. I don't know. Add this indicator. Yeah, okay. I don't know what the script for it is, but it's an EMA cross. What CGR, CGRO is that Conagra? Collective growth is down. Well, it looks like selling pressure came in. It looks like this is potentially a low float. It broke out above 1450 and had a breakout right here. So it's a technical breakout. And then the sellers stepped in at the top and started selling it down. And now it's come over here and seems to have found support temporarily off of this moving average and also on the daily moving average. Thank you, Asif. Yeah, if you guys like my live stream, please go ahead, like it, and subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Then YouTube will tell you when I do go live. Let's look at Bank of America. Yeah. So Bank of America, nice dark shadow candlestick right there. Actually, let's look at it on the weekly, because I think you guys are going to be surprised. It's going to look pretty bearish. Boom, bada, boom. Here we go. Right? Weekly, we are, why is that not auto? There we go. Weekly, we're really coming down. We have a lot of selling pressure. It was not able to stay above 29. That was a resistance. It looks like that needs to be broken with strengths. And selling pressure coming into it today. Now, we're starting to curl over. We're about to have a crossover on the EMAs. How far down will it come? Maybe it's going to come to 27.90, the low of this candlestick, as a potential support area. They might do a gap fake out, or they might fill it to right here, 27.86, and then 27.61, and then 27.40. So those would be the different targets that I would look at on the downside. Big one that I'm looking at right now is really Apple. If we can really break and close below this 21 EMA over here, 120.20, actually 120.24, and break down below this 425, I think we're going to see a big drawdown there, and likely with the rest of the market. Yeah, so XLF might go with that, with Bank of America. That is looking bearish as well. I'm like, where'd my indicator go? So this is looking like it's about to roll over. However, they can manipulate the candlesticks. This is the middle of the day. Anything is possible, right? We see that we have a bit of a doji candlestick right now on the 45-minute chart, but we don't have volume coming in. Let's look at Apple really quickly. Did we have volume coming in at the bottom? If you have volume coming in at the bottom, many times that will be an indication that we'll have a nice reversal right there. We have some buying pressure, but it's bouncing up here to the floor. Maybe it will go ahead and move to the downside. You see that every time you are at an extreme and you have high volume, that's usually indicative of a reversal. So over here, right here. So seeing this high volume, we were at a megaphone top, and now we're heading to the downside. I could do a bit of a tighter trend line right here. That's not what I want. I want a new trend line, right here to right here. So if we close below this, it's going to have to prove to me that it can break out with strength above that trend line right here. I'm going to add an alert there. Crossing up. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up for today. I'm sorry I did not make it on yesterday after doing my bit with Angela Miles. I was tired and my 3-year-old was homesick. So I will see you all on Sunday at around 1:30. If you all ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at jane@cjanetrade.com, just like Beatrice did this morning or this afternoon. And I'll be happy to answer it. If I'm not able to answer it right in an email, I'll answer it on the live stream as well. And as I always say, carpe profit, seize those profits one trade at a time. Take the gift that the market is giving you. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. All right, see you all on Sunday. Have a great weekend. And happy Hanukkah to those that celebrate.